Hi, I'm Kaylee.
Hi, I'm Erin.
We're writers, aspiring authors. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're talking about our writing essentials. Our first category for writing essentials is environment. So Erin, what environment do you like to write in?
I like to... Solitude is the environment.
Amen.
The location is a little less picky about that. I like to write at home or at I don't know, out places, very typical, like a cafe or coffee shop kind of situation. If it's one where I feel like I can have a corner or a space that I'm not gonna expect people to enter or I don't know. The cramped ones, that freaks me out a little bit. I feel like somebody can see what I'm doing over my shoulder.
No, I totally understand. Yeah. Where you're like, I don't want people to come in and look at this would probably never happen.
Yeah.
Someone will look in and be like, wow, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Or oh, that sentence doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just be like, oh, you're that kind of author or something like that. I don't know. That's my fear. So
I understand.
So that's why I like the kind of bigger places. But yeah, I don't know. And then, as far as environment, I like a little bit of order. If it is kind of cluttery and messy, it is difficult for me to kind of focus in on it or whatever. But so that's what, if my own place is too messy, I'm just let me go somewhere else. have a clean table. But yeah. What about you?
I also like to write at home and the occasional coffee shop. I do think order is nice, but I exist in a state of chaos. So my desk is never clean. If everything's always messy. And so my desk is always messy. And then sometimes I also will move around my house a lot. Sometimes I'll be writing at my computer, and then if that's not working, I'll go sit on the couch or I'll go sit in my bed, and I just kind of move around. But I do think most of my writing is at my desk at home. Yeah.
Gotcha. Our next category is snacks. Do you have any particular snacks you like to have when you write?
I would say, snacks, definitely, I have certain drinks probably and certain foods. I definitely like coffee when writing, if it's in the morning. I also have gotten into sparkling water. I used to hate sparkling water. I still don't necessarily describe it as super good, but I like that it's a fun drink when I'm tired of tea or when it's too, I'm not in the tea mood. So I'll do that. I'll also do tea. And then I really like snacking on olives, on green olives. So I will eat green olives.
Man, that's specific.
Yeah. But that's not necessarily specific to writing. This is just a life snack, I guess.
Okay.
And I guess most of my writing snacks are my favorite life snacks. So yeah, green olives, fruit, chips, sometimes, but not often. I eat those little pretzel crisps. Have you ever had those little flat pretzels?
Yeah, pretzel chips.
I like
or
those.
whatever.
The pretzel chips.
Yeah, those are good.
How about you? Do you have any snacks that you like when writing?
I think I don't really have snacks. It's more of a beverage thing. I'm it's either tea or seasonally hot chocolate. But most of the time it's just tea. I like to have that, and maybe a little I might be a little too rigid on that. Sometimes I'm well, if I can't. I have at some points been I can write for a little bit before bed, but I'm but I can't have tea because I'm about to go to sleep and I won't write.
That's so funny.
That's not the best mindset to have about it, but I don't know. They go together. It's nice to have something to be at least when I'm looking at a sentence going, what is that? I can be I'm gonna take a sip of something else.
Yeah.
And then move on.
I feel that can be a pro if you have a certain drink super associated with writing.
Yeah.
Because if you heard people say you should chew gum to study for a
yeah.
test. Yeah, so maybe if you drink tea, associate tea with writing.
Yeah.
That could be good in a similar way.
It just clicks that part of my brain. I don't know. Which there's herbal tea too, but sometimes I'm I don't like it as much as black tea. So But yeah, with snacks, I don't know. I don't eat a lot while I'm writing because I think, especially if it's a sweet snack or something, I'm just gonna eat the whole thing at once. I'm not good at scattering it. Yeah. I'm I might stop, have a snack or whatever, and then go back to it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's just too much like I don't remember, I guess, that there's a snack. I remember the tea. I'm thinking about the tea all the time. I don't remember the snack as much, I guess.
That's fair. You're in the zone.
Yeah.
You're in the flow.
Mm.
Sometimes you're struggling in the flow, maybe.
Yeah.
So, what kind of music do you like to listen to when you write?
I am a purveyor of a match the vibe of the scene to the vibe of the music I'm writing, or vice versa, whichever. I feel like what is actually good for my writing is instrumental music. What I tend to go to is like I have playlists for like certain projects or certain scenes, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this while I write it. But then it's like if it's like music with words, it does kind of like make it a little bit more difficult to actually like have output, which is really disappointing because I don't like listening to instrumental music as much. But thankfully the genre I write in, there's lots of good video game music that isn't that same genre, so it all kind of goes together, so that works really well. But yeah, so I think if I don't like, I can't always write with music, but I don't like to write with like also the ambient noise around me, so it's like even if I have my headphones on and I'm just not listening to anything, like I prefer that to like, I guess like just there being noise, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does make sense. Like I know some people like to go to coffee shops, and part of the appeal of the coffee shops is the ambient noise, but I also am like, no, I don't want to hear any of these people. I don't want the silence. Yeah.
So what about you?
I am a big fan of instrumental music for writing. I used to edit a lot, like for huge chunks of time, very boring stuff, and instrumental music was like part of how I got through that, and so now I'm a big I've listened to so much instrumental music that I now am a fan of it and will listen to it even like driving, just like wow. So I really like oh my gosh, Marcus Warner is someone I really listen to a lot. Endemic Sound has a lot of good instrumental music. And I also just searched Epic Fantasy Instrumental playlist on Spotify and listen to that. But I also like have all these playlists of instrumental songs that fit with the book I'm writing. And I sometimes listen to music with words. I find that, most of the time, music with words is not helpful, but I feel like if I'm really over-analyzing what I'm writing and I'm like, oh, this is terrible, I hate this, I can't like get into it, it's too cringe. Sometimes not instrumental music, sometimes music with words helps distract the part of my brain that is like criticizing my writing as I'm doing it. So I'll do that sometimes if I'm really stuck. And sometimes that helps, but sometimes it doesn't. So yeah.
That's cool. I haven't thought about it like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real or if it's a placebo effect, but I have found
if it works
that it's sometimes helpful.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll add one nugget of a thing I forgot about. So like the story I'm working on now, there is a scene where there's like a ball or whatever, and I was like, what would the music actually sound like? And I'm like, there's chamber music, like that's a thing. But what I have found on Spotify is chamber music covers of pop songs.
Oh, nice.
And so I made a whole playlist of those, and that was helpful instrumental music to listen to because I was like, I know the words, but they're not there, and so it's a little bit more like engaging.
Yeah,
so,
I like that, and I like that it's
like
a
really
scene.
specific.
I like that that's for a scene where there is music in the scene.
Yeah,
I think that's cool.
Yeah, because I was trying to be like, what would this even? How would that even go? Because I don't have any context for like a medieval ball situation. So yeah. Do you have any tools that are essential to your writing?
Well, it depends on what you, and by you I mean me, we, because we wrote the questions, what we mean by tools. And the answer is yes to whatever it is that we mean. Anyway, so basically my laptop, I do all my writing digitally. I'm not a handwriting things person. I know some people are like, oh yes, handwrite, like it can help get I don't want to do that. It takes me forever, and I also draw a lot, so I try to limit the things that I do that's super right hand extensive, because I'm trying not to give myself an RSI injury, or I guess that's redundant, because RSI stands for repetitive strain injury, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, try not to mess up my wrist. So yeah, I write on my laptop. I really like Notion for planning. Do a lot of planning in Notion of like world building and characters, and also scenes, and I like use it like a spreadsheet and like chunk up have the scenes and little descriptions and notes about them. And then I also use Microsoft Word and Google Docs, and I sometimes just I like using Google Docs for drafting at the beginning because I can do it on my phone wherever I am. And that was really helpful for doing my first draft of my book when I was like really trying to get into it. I was like, okay, Kaylee, if you're sitting here and you're bored waiting for this thing to start drafting on Google Docs. So that was helpful for that. But I prefer to like do editing and rewriting in Word because Word just is forever associated with writing to me. I'm just like, Microsoft Word, this is where it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the tools that I use. How about you? What tools do you use?
I mean, laptop.
Yeah.
Default.
Do you ever handwrite or?
So I have written like a few like scenes or whatever for I don't know, it's weird. At different times I have handwritten and at different times I've strictly digitally written. When I was in high school before I had a laptop and I did NaNoWriMo, I hand wrote most of that project. And so I think when I've thought about going back and handwriting things, I think of then trying to figure out how many words I had written and the process of typing it back onto a Word doc. And so that kind of makes me not want to do it because I'm like, who wants to do that? And because I struggle so much with editing in the midst of it, that would probably be bad if I did that like in mass quantities, because I would probably just get stuck being like, why did I write that? But yeah, I think I've done it like a couple of times for like little snippets of things when I've been like, oh, this scene isn't where I'm at yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and write it a little bit. Like I think handwriting is useful for that part to me because I tend to like go in order, but if I'm like, I have to do that one little bit, like I don't know, because it feels like it's just kind of playing around because I'm like, we're not there yet, so it's I don't know, to
that
me it's a little
sense.
It's a little less of that like block that keeps me from doing it. As far as other tools, I do use Notion a little bit, but I find that like I don't, unless we're in like a super like characters have to get from like point A to point B and I had made decisions about how to do that, I don't really like, I make an outline and then I don't really refer back to it necessarily because I guess I'm just like, oh, I remember like the general order of events. But one thing that I do use really often is just a voice recorder.
Ooh,
yeah, so I probably should invest in like a separate actual just machine that is voice recorder. But most of the time it's just been like the app on my phone or whatever. Because like when I'm driving, sometimes I like to just like hit record and just talk about it because sometimes like that just helps me figure out like problems in the story or whatever. Or just like, honestly, I think I've come up with just ideas that were not like problems I was aware of, but just like by kind of talking about it, it all just kind of like clicks in at that point, I guess. Which is also strange because I don't really go back and listen to those very often, but sometimes it is just nice to like have the, like, because it's like driving, I'm like concentrating on driving. So it's like not as much like, oh, I'm like in my head about it. I have tried doing like actual just like dictation, like very briefly, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I've tried that
It's
too.
just like it feels too like in it, and I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like I think so much slower for writing if I'm I don't know. I tried it like one time as well, and
yeah.
it was really hard.
It is. But I imagine it's probably, you can't edit it. You gotta just keep going. And so it's like, I want to try it again, but yeah.
And some people swear by it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you can write so much because you can dictate while you're like doing the dishes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that being super helpful.
Oh, I forgot one other thing that kind of goes with the handwriting and outline. So I really like whiteboards for that. I don't have one as accessible to me now as I did in the past, and that's sad. But yeah, for some reason I find that really helpful. I think it's just because it's like just wide space and just like kind of like writing notes or outlining things. I don't know. I don't have like a good scientific reason for explaining like why that's preferable to like paper, but I don't know. It's helpful for me.
Well, and it's like a big thing that you're like people talk about mind mapping. Like a good thing. Yeah. No, so I think that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I do voice recording too sometimes. I don't think I do it as often as you do, and I don't do it while driving. But every once in a while I get really stuck. And I do sometimes do it while driving, but not with regularity. And yeah, it is really helpful for like working through stuff because you can just be like, they're here and they gotta get here. What's going on? None of this makes sense or whatever. Yeah, that is helpful I do use whiteboards sometimes as well, but also not a ton. I found like drawing things out. I'm not saying that you're necessarily using like you have to use a whiteboard to like draw stuff, but like sometimes I get stuck. I've tried doing like mind mapping, and that hasn't really helped. But yeah, whiteboards are a good tool.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That was the end of our categories.
Yeah, those are our writing essentials.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments what your writing essentials are if you write. If you have, or if you use any of these same. If we have anything in common. Maybe. I don't know.
We'd love to hear about other people's processes too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I guess we'll see you later.